Hello, everyone, and welcome to the CPA Lady Podcast. My name is Marjorie McPike, and I am your host. I am a CPA in Southern California, where I help small business owners make life less taxing. I provide accounting and tax preparation, tax planning, and tax strategy services. I have with me today Ahngelea. She is with Tax Keeping by AC. And I will let Ahngelea introduce herself and tell you a little bit more about her and her background.
Hi, everyone. I am also an accountant. I specialize in helping small businesses just stay organized and knowledgeable about their businesses and help them grow profitably, as well as provide tax planning services so that way they are taking advantage of all the tax benefits that are available to them throughout the year. I also specialize in helping individuals and families with their financial planning and their tax planning, just to keep them ahead of the game, help them just stay very strong and focused within their financials and helping them achieve all of their financial goals. My ultimate goal is for our families and our communities to reach financial freedom. And so that is what I enjoy doing. And I've been doing that for the past over 5 years now. It's been going on 6 years now. So
love it.
I love what I do.
So have you been on your own for 5 to 6 years now?
Actually, I've only been on my own for 12 months. Okay. So I've been doing bookkeeping and taxes on the side for 5 years. Okay. And so I was in corporate as well as, handling my side business. And then just really with the pandemic, I decided to go full time on my own. And so it's now it's been 12 months. It just flew by.
Awesome. So you say be organized. I like that. So how do you help businesses be organized?
So I believe that is really your first step in having a successful and profitable business. So how do I help business owners be organized? Well, one, I'm a bookkeeper. So I am recording all of their business transactions. That's the first step. And I cannot enforce that enough. The importance of keeping track of every penny that you spend towards your business. And so that's what I do. I just record all of their transactions, revenue and expenses. It doesn't matter how small or big. You want to record it, and you want to record it properly. Mm-hmm. And then we go over all of those transactions together. I go over those transactions with the client, just because that's important. That brings awareness, because a lot of times we're just spending money. And we know we need to get this done for the business. We know we need to get this done for the business. We know we have a project, and all of these things are inclusive in this project. And all of these things cost money, and we just pay for it. But sometimes we don't take the time to look in the end to see how much money did we spend on this project. Did you actually, just because you got a check at the end of the project, that doesn't mean that you were profitable. That doesn't mean that that was a successful project. So that's the first step, is just really just being organized and recording every penny that you spend and receive towards your business.
Awesome. I love it. Do you find that business owners are kind of apprehensive when it comes to that?
Apprehensive in what way?
And they either they don't want to know, or they're just kind of like overwhelmed. They don't know how to do it, how to go about it. Kind of, what's your approach to getting someone to working with you and to starting that process?
So typically, at this point, my clients are coming to me because they are overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. They have probably been running their business for a certain amount of years, and they are realizing that they have not been keeping track of their money. They're realizing that they don't know where their money is going, or they're overwhelmed because they're trying to do it all themselves. And, they're not really a numbers person. They're not an accountant. So they understand how to operate their business, but they don't understand how to understand the financial side of their business. So that's normally when they do come to me, is when they're overwhelmed. So once I explain to them my bookkeeping process, it's almost like you can just see the relief immediately. Mm-hmm. And then what I like to call them are my financial reviews. So every quarter we have a financial review, and we walk through those numbers. We walk through their financial statements. We strategize and we plan in alignment to the goals that they have already set. And we just see where they are in accordance to those goals. And my clients love it. I really want to say that's probably my selling point with most of my bookkeeping clients, is the fact that I'm going to keep them knowledgeable about their money and organized within their business. And once I let them know what we do within the financial planning or within the financial review sessions, they're like, that's exactly what I need. And so what I've seen is most people are not numbers people, right? I'm a numbers person. I'm sure you're a numbers person. So for me, I can read those numbers to you. I can break those numbers down to you. That's not a problem. Majority of the business owners that I work with, they're not numbers people. They might be more creative, or they're a cook, so that they know food, they understand food and flavors and all of that. But when it comes to them looking at numbers, they just go blank. And so that's where I come in and I break it down. I make it simple and easy for them to understand. And that brings them the clarity that they need. And then we're able to strategize from there, because now I have broke it down into a place where they can understand and they can relate it to their business. And then now they know they're in a better position to make better business decisions.
Okay. I like that, because you find a lot of people that are very good at making money, but they're not good at the other part. And even when it comes to translating it into taxes and tax deductions, like, you have to have a good foundation, right? And good financial records is your foundation. Okay, awesome. So then when working with you, so you do the financial review, and then it all translates into the tax return, and you follow through with that part as well, and tax planning up until that point?
Yes. So throughout the year, as a bookkeeper and as a tax professional, I'm helping my clients grasp all the tax benefits that are available for them. So even if that's just, they may not even be aware of these certain things that they are doing that are tax beneficial. So they may not be aware, but when I see it happening, I'm recording it and I'm keeping it clean, I'm keeping it organized. So that way, once tax season does come, it's already laid out in simple black and white. It's easy. We don't have to go digging. We don't have to go find old papers and receipts. Everything is organized. So when it comes to tax time, all we have to do is just put in those numbers. And that's another benefit to bookkeeping. A lot of small business owners, we're small, so they want to hold on to everything close. And you feel like you can't afford a lot of you feel like you can't afford a lot of help as a small business owner. And that is another selling point for a lot of my clients, is once you have a bookkeeper all year long, your tax season becomes like a breeze. I don't think a lot of my clients even think about tax season anymore. Like, once they've been working with me, that's the whole point. That's, like I said, the first step is just being organized. Once you're organized, going into tax season is a breeze. Tax season does not have to be stressful. Right. You make it stressful when you're not organized. Right. You make it stressful when you're not knowledgeable about what's going on with your business. Then it's stressful. After pretty much the end of the year, everything is already clean, and we just go straight into tax season. I have some clients that work with CPAs for their taxes, and so I just send them over the reports, and typically they don't really have any questions. Everything is clean and nice, and so I just send it over to them, and they do their thing, and that's it. And then the clients that I do taxes for, I already have everything. I just put it in there. I put it in the system. I let them know where we're at tax position wise, and then we submit. It's 1, 2, 3 easy.
It's so much easier. It's so much easier when you're prepared, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So much
it is.
And
it's easier, and it saves you money.
Yes, because you already know, you've planned for it, you've made adjustments, you've done planning where if there was something you could do at the end of the year or the middle of the year that's going to help your tax.
We made that. We made that move.
Yeah,
exactly.
So you're ready. So you're not at June or July of the next year trying to finish up your return for the previous year.
Exactly. And it just makes it so much easier, and they can continue on operating their business. Like you said, they're not taking up 6 months of the new year cleaning up last year. And like, that's the part that makes it more expensive, right? So as a tax preparer, if you come to me and everything is not clean, now you have to pay for my time to clean that up.
Right.
And so not only are you just paying for the tax prep, but you're preparing for the prep for the tax prep. So, you have to pay for all of that. And so it makes it more expensive. And I do like to pride myself in affordable services. So my bookkeeping plans, like I said, I'm targeting small business owners. So it's very affordable. My basic bookkeeping plan is $180 a month. And so that is another reason why small business, they're like, okay, well, that's something that's doable. And when you really look and lay all the benefits, they're like, I mean, I don't have to pay for, I don't have to stress during tax time. I'm knowledgeable about my business throughout the whole year. So I'm able to make the proper business decisions. And that way your business can continue to grow and be profitable. So really, I mean, my ultimate goal is really just to help business owners any way that I can, so they can continue to grow their business and be successful and be stress-free, enjoy your life and not be worried about the things that you can't really, that you can control, but you just have to be knowledgeable about them. So that way you are able to make the right decisions.
I like it that you said that your services are affordable, because a lot of times people think that, bookkeeping or accounting services are, unreasonable. The costs are, so I like that it's affordable. And then also that you provide the value. I mean, we all provide the value, but, they start to see the value when they get involved in it. So,
yes.
So your monthly services, that includes the financial review?
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Yes, ma'am. So almost all of my plans, all of my services include a financial review. So I also provide QuickBooks training. Oh. So, most people who need bookkeeping services, they have been in business for at least a year or more. When you're very fresh, the business, you're just trying to grow the business. You're trying to grasp that clientele. So a lot of times they are not in a position where they really can afford a bookkeeper, or the business is just not busy enough for them to really need a full-time bookkeeper. Yeah. But I also think it's very important for them to know and get into the habit of recording their daily transactions, know where your money is going. So with the QuickBooks training, I provide QuickBooks training. It's all customized. I walk you through how to enter in your transactions, how to understand the financial reports and all of that information. But I also provide, that also comes with the quarterly financial reviews. So I will train you. Normally training takes about 3 hours, give or take, just depend on your business and how many questions that you have. But after we do the training, I will meet with you every 3 months.
That's awesome.
And we will review your financials. We walk through those together, because at the end of the day, just because I taught you how to do the QuickBooks, how to enter in those transactions, and I taught you how to generate a report, that doesn't really mean that you are now a professional of reading a financial report or understanding what it is. And again, you're at that, most of those people in that point, they are fresh business owners. So they may not really, they still need a little bit of guidance on, or coaching on, how to make business decisions. What's the next move for me? And so that's where I come into play. We strategize through those quarterly sessions. We make decisions. I walk them through the numbers, and I just provide that guidance, and that, again, I think my clients really love it. They love the quarterly financial review. So I've tried to make that very inclusive in the services that I provide.
That's awesome. That's awesome, because we need to have people that are actually being more organized so that they can understand their financial situation, so that they can grow. So I like that you offer those services. So you also do life insurance, auto, home, business, different types of insurance. Can you talk about that a little bit? And can you talk about, do you see business owners with those type of things, or how do you have that conversation with them?
So life insurance, I cannot stress the importance of life insurance. One of the things that you mentioned earlier was generational wealth. And so that is really one of the first steps in generational wealth, right? And I also make that one of the first steps in my financial planning. When I am doing an inclusive financial planning with you, our first step is to get you secured with the proper life insurance coverage. Because, right, let's just say we jump into everything, we skip the life insurance, and we're making the plans, we're paying off your debt, we have a budget, we're creating different savings plans for different savings goals, and then the unfortunate happens and you end up passing away. And now you have your family that you left behind a half done financial plan, right? We didn't really begin to accumulate and grow those assets, and we never secured that life insurance policy. So now your family is stuck in the rough, Now they got to start all the way from ground zero. They got to pay for your funeral. They have to continue on with their life. And now instead of two incomes, there's one. And it makes it so much stressful. So that's why the first step in financial planning is life insurance. Because if we're in the middle of creating that financial plan and the unfortunate happens, now your family is financially secure, right? Even if we didn't finish the entire financial plan, even if we didn't start investing yet, they now are going to receive a lump sum. That way they can take care of your funeral, and we can now use that money and grow it, for their financial future. Plan for the kids' college education, start the new business that you really wanted to start, Right. So life insurance is a necessity, and I would really, that's one of my missions is to have individuals think of it as a necessity. Like we get auto insurance like that, like we get home insurance like that, like we get insurance on our cell phones, like it's not a thought. And so I want life insurance to be the same way. Another issue I find with life insurance though is not so much on the business owners, but for individuals who have a job. They are now, life insurance is like a benefit with most jobs. And so individuals feel very secure because they have secured that policy with their employer. Right. And typically you cannot depend on life insurance through your employer, because if there's a max payout when it comes to life insurance on an employer plan, because it's a group plan. It's not an individual plan. So you do not own that plan. Your employer owns that plan. And so it's very important for you to, of course, take advantage of an employer-sponsored life insurance plan if it's available to you. Take advantage of it. Take advantage of their 401k. Take advantage of their matching options. But it's very important for you to have your own life insurance plan. So that way you own it. And that way your people, your family, your loved ones are going to get paid out directly from that plan, versus having to go and chase down your employer and fill out additional paperwork and maybe pay additional fees. They can do whatever they want. That's not your money. So, and then the same with retirement. I know you didn't, I just kind of mentioned it, and I have to always enforce it. It's important for us to have individual retirement accounts known as IRAs. It's very important for us to have an IRA account. Take advantage of the 401k that your employer has, and take advantage of their matching contributions. That's free money. But make sure you also have an IRA account, because you're able to invest that money. You can roll over the money that's in your 401k and put it into your IRA account and grow it. There's so many loopholes and different benefits to having that IRA. An IRA, I can go on and on about IRAs, but that's a different topic, but that is part of the financial planning. But to answer your question, life insurance for business owners, typically I work with a lot of either sole owners. So they're the sole owner of that business, or it's like, it might be a partnership. It's two partnerships. So for partnerships, I always let them know it's important for you guys to get life insurance. And most business owners don't really know that you can get life insurance on your business partner. If you guys have a business together, you have a financial responsibility to that person, and you are able to get a policy for your business partner. Because if your business partner passes away, that can affect your business. That can affect the flow of your money. So you're able to secure that policy for them, and you should. Because what happens if your business partner passes away? Are you going to be able to really continue running your business 100%? Or are things going to fall back a little bit? Are you going to end up having to hire somebody to fill in, to step in? So you want to have that financial support there, so that way you can make the adjustments and changes that you need in your business to keep your business successful.
That's good, because people don't think about that. People just think starting a business, and they have a business and it's you and I, we go in it together, but it's the succession plan. It's what's going to happen in the business if something happens to either one, to the partner. But even if you're a single member LLC, or if you're a single S corp or something like that,
it's very important. It's still important for you to have life insurance. You want to have life insurance on yourself, because if something happens to you, let's say you have a partner, or you're married, right? They're not really a part of the business. Maybe they have a job, maybe they don't have a job, and you guys have kids. If you are running a business and you end up passing away, there's nothing left. If your partner is not running the business, or if they cannot pick up in your place, like you might be a lawyer. And so, if your wife or your significant other does not have that degree, they're not going to just be able to step into your shoes and continue running that business. So you want to have some financial support. Yes, they can liquidate everything in the business and they can have that cash, but then now they're stuck to depend to live off of that cash instead of grow that money and put it into an investment. So if you have that life insurance, now they have that extra financial support where they can use that for living conditions, and then they can use the business money to start another type of business or to continue running that business, so they're not dependent on whatever assets that are in their name. So yeah, it's very important for business owners to have life insurance, whether it is to keep the business running for your business partner or for your family to just have that financial support.
Awesome. And then, so you mentioned an individual retirement account. That's something that an LLC owner can have as well, right? So can you kind of talk about how that benefits a business owner?
So IRAs, anybody can open an IRA. A business owner, an individual, you can have an IRA. And another thing I like to point out is if you're married and your spouse does not work, y'all both can still have an IRA. And so they're called individual retirement accounts. So you can't have a joint IRA account. You have to have two separate ones. So even though your wife or your spouse may not work, you should still have two separate IRA accounts and contribute to both of them every year. And so yes, business owners can have IRAs. There's other retirement accounts for business owners as well. You have your SEPs. And so I prefer IRAs. SEPs they do give you some type of tax advantages, but they're short-term advantages, not long-term advantages. So that's something to think of before you start an SEP. But for IRA accounts, individual IRA account, it's important for you to have one as a business owner because you don't have a 401k plan, right? So that is your 401k plan. You are your own 401k plan. You're responsible for your own retirement. And so what you can do, you can contribute $6,000 into that account every year. Your IRA account is free to open and it's free to maintain. The maximum you can contribute to that account every year is $6,000. And what I love about IRA accounts is you're able to invest with that money. So you can invest in the stock market versus your 401k. You are limited to maybe like 10 options that you're able to put your money in and let it grow. Versus in your IRA, you can invest in anything. You can invest in Apple, you can invest in Tesla, oil and gas, whatever your heart desires, you're able to make that investment. We can create a full investment portfolio in your IRA. You cannot do that in your 401k. And then there's two different types of IRA accounts. You have your Roth IRA and you have your individual IRA. And that is what I love people. I like to break this down because your Roth IRA can grow tax-free. And that is one of the major benefits of having an IRA and why I encourage people to get an individual retirement account. I push them to get that account because why not have tax-free assets? Like, that's the whole point. When you're in retirement, that's what you need to be thinking about is less taxes, less taxes, less taxes. That is our goal. We're trying to get rid of taxes, right? Because you're on a limited income come retirement. And so yeah, your Roth IRA grows tax-free. And if you are making 75K or lower, then you qualify to contribute into an IRA account, a Roth IRA account. Once you hit 75K, then now you are forced to contribute into a traditional IRA.
Mhm.
There are loopholes where you can convert that money into your Roth IRA and let it grow tax-free. But when you contribute into your traditional IRA, that's a tax deduction. So if you contribute $6,000 into your IRA that year, you get a $6,000 reduced out of your gross income. Like it reduces directly your taxable income. And so that's a great deduction. It's a great deduction to have. Sorry, guys. It's a great deduction to have. And so I always encourage all of my tax clients to open up an IRA, contribute to that IRA. Even if it's just for a tax deduction, do it. But most importantly, the goal is to be planning for your retirement.
Right.
And so we're not just saving the money, we're saving it and growing it. And so, like I said, there are loopholes where you can get that tax deduction and then we can transfer it over and make it into a Roth contribution. And so that's what I do in my tax planning sessions is I walk my clients through exactly what they qualify for. So if you are making over 75K, I have clients, they don't qualify for the full 6,000 deduction, but I still tell them to make a $6,000 contribution into their IRA. And so part of it, so let's say they only qualify to get a $2,000 deduction on their taxes. Well, we're going to make that $2,000 into your traditional, and then the rest of that $4,000 is going to go to your Roth IRA because you're not going to get the full $6,000 deduction anyways. So we might as well just put $4,000 directly into your Roth because you're not going to get that deduction. Put the $2,000 that you qualified to get a deduction for into your traditional, and then the next year we just roll that directly over into your Roth IRA, and you have your entire investment portfolio in your Roth, and we just let it continue to grow tax-free, compound interest, and you're not paying taxes on it. So that's what we do in tax planning sessions, or that's one of the things that we do in tax planning sessions is I really strategize based off your income, based off your lifestyle. I will see what you qualify for, and I walk you in detail how to secure those advantages, those tax advantages. But IRAs are extremely important and it's not talked about enough. A lot of individuals do not know what an IRA is, because all we're told are about a 401k.
Right.
Open your 401k with your employer, automatically put money in it. And 401ks are important. Go ahead. I mean, it's pre-tax money, so go ahead, take advantage of it. But roll that money. I always advise roll that money over every year. You can do it once a year, do it every year, and put it into your IRA so that way you can invest that money.
So a lot of people start or get involved in their 401k because it's automatic, right? Your paycheck, a portion of it goes to your 401k. Are there IRAs that are like that people can get involved in, that they can join?
So you can put money. So, I mean, nowadays, with technology, you're able to break your paycheck up if you really want to. Most companies allow you to, dictate, hey, I want to put this percentage amount of money in this account every paycheck. So you can set it up that way. You can, like I said, the max you can do is $6,000 a year. So what is that a month?
You can set that up to do like an automatic.
Yeah, so you can do $500 a month.
Okay.
Straight out of your paycheck. You can have your employer put it directly into your IRA every month or every pay period, $500 a month. And then you have met the maximum $6,000. And then at the end of the year or whatever point of the year you want to, you can roll over your 401k into your IRA.
Mhm.
And that doesn't, when you do a direct rollover, that does not count as a contribution. So let's say you had end up putting 7,000 into your 401k that year, and then your employer matched. So they matched 50%. So now you have over 10,000 in your 401k added that year. You can roll over that 10 plus $1,000 into your IRA and make a $6,000 contribution.
Mm.
So it does not, your direct rollovers is not considered a contribution. You can still max out your contribution and do a direct rollover. So yeah, so I like to advise my clients, if that's not something that you feel like you can just do at the end of the year, or just make a one-time payment, do it, get it taken directly out of your check.
Yeah, and
And put it into an account.
That's more obtainable for people, knowing that you could do it systematically throughout the year. You know, where it just goes there instead of having to just pay $6,000 or contribute $6,000 all at the same time.
And I have some clients, they like to really invest, and they're a little bit more aggressive. So what they do is they have a lump sum of money that goes into an investment account. Directly out their paycheck. It goes into an investment account, and they invest it. And then every year, at the end of the year, they take out $6,000 out that investment account and put it into their IRA account. That way they're kind of growing it, and throughout the year, and then they just dump the 6,000 in, and then it's more conservative in the IRA. We have a more conservative portfolio going on in the IRA, and then they can still make their they can still be aggressive in their investment account.
I like that. You hear a lot of people asking about self-directed IRAs when it comes to like investing in stocks and things like that. And so that's the way that you would accomplish that goal.
Yeah, so there's actually self-directed IRAs are actually a little bit different than just a regular IRA. So self-directed IRAs, you can actually use that money to invest in real estate. So, or invest in, almost like you can start a business with that money. The only thing though, with the self-directed IRAs, if you use it for an investment, so let's say you have a self-directed IRA, you get an opportunity to invest in a real estate project. You take out a lump sum of that money, you dump it into that project. Whenever you get paid out, that money has to go back into that IRA. So that's another way to really invest your retirement, and I've actually, me and my parents have been talking about that, because they're looking for, close to retiring. They want to, my dad, he's really big into real estate, and he wants to, maybe get involved in real estate. And so we've just been kind of talking about different options, but that is something that you can do. The only thing is, like, those, you can't use that money. You can do it if you can use that money for personal, like if you invest it into a real estate project and then you start getting your payouts and you put it into your personal account, well, now you just have to pay taxes on it. But if you put it back into your IRA, it's not taxable. So you can literally flip that money. And it doesn't have to be in the stock market. You can take it out of that IRA account, put it into a real estate project, or put it into a business, and put it right back into that IRA account. And all of that is tax-free.
That's interesting, because I've never heard of that. So would you have to like let your broker know that that's what you're wanting to do?
You have to open up a self-directed IRA. So there are accounts that are actually called self-directed IRAs. And when you have those accounts, that type of IRA, then you're able to invest it in a broader range of investments outside of the stock market.
Okay. Awesome. That's good information. And you can have that still as a business owner, right?
Yes. Anybody can have that account.
Anybody can have that account. Okay, awesome. So you said something about financial planning. Do your services you do for both business and personal? So you do this.
So most of my financial planning services are geared for individuals or families. Like I said, during my bookkeeping process, I'm pretty much strategizing and guiding you with financial planning throughout the year.
Mhm.
So I'll set you up with life insurance if you don't have any. We create budgets. We pay off your debt strategically. That's what I'm doing already as your bookkeeper.
As a bookkeeper for the business.
Yes.
So that's interesting. That's
Yes.
interesting. So let's talk about that. Go ahead.
So as a business owner, as you're a bookkeeper, I already have access, to your accounts. I'm already managing, or organizing your finances. And so I'm gonna on your balance sheet, on your financials, your debt is there. So I'm not gonna ignore it. We're going to talk about this, So what debt is here? Let's just, let's look at the cash flow. What cash flow do we have to throw at your debt? And as business owners, if it's business debt, that interest is a tax deduction.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's another thing that we're paying attention to. Okay, well, so sometimes we're in a position where we are trying to reduce taxes. We see that the business is in like high growth, and we're looking at ways to how can we at the end of this year have lower taxes. We know we're in high growth. We know our income is going to be out of control. How do we reduce the taxes? You can pay off extra debt. That will help reduce some taxes, because now that interest is a deduction. Or maybe you are in a position where you want to have another location. So, that is a part of financial planning. We are now budgeting. We're creating a budget, seeing, okay, well, this is where all the money is going. Mm-hmm. This is the excess money. This is how much it's going to take us to start this new project. Mm-hmm. So how much money can we throw over in this project? Mm-hmm. And then we can also put up, let's say we're putting away a certain amount of money, and we'll invest that money. We'll create an investment plan for that fund to grow it. And so that way we can reach a certain amount at the end of the year or at a specific time period. Mm-hmm. So we create those types of, it's all just strategy. Mm-hmm. Whatever, it's all customizable, right? It's all personalized strategy.
I like it that you said a budget, because a lot of times as a business owner, you don't think about a budget, right? You're just making money, but you still have to think about how much is the rent, how much are the if you're in a building, how much are the utilities, how much is my overhead. You still have to think about those things, and if you need to reduce them. So
yes, yeah, and that's true. So like you said, like if you need to reduce them, because like let's say, okay, now we know we're going to open up a second location. We know within 2 years we're going to have a second location. So now we can use the first location to estimate what are our expenses going to be on this second location. And is there anything that's going to, maybe like insurance? Insurance might be one of those things where it's not controllable. It's not going to be just a percentage. Okay, you get a second location, it's going to grow by, it's just going to double. Sometimes it might triple. Because now you have an extra risk and the insurance company doesn't want to take on. Right. So, some things is okay, well, now our insurance tripled, so how do we navigate this? How do we prepare to have to pay for 3 times the amount of insurance? And it's all about budgeting. Okay, so where else can we cut back? Or what areas can we grow? Sometimes it's not always about cutting back with business owners. Right. And sometimes you have to play with your price. Sometimes lowering your price can actually draw traffic and actually increase your sales. And I know a lot of my business owners, they don't like to hear that sometimes. And I mean, it's not a plan for every business owner. Not every business owner, not every industry can reduce the price and grow their profits. But in some plans, it's just all about strategizing and doing an analysis. And so that's where I come in. So I basically combine accounting and finance. And I feel like that's what brings a major benefit to my clients. My background is in accounting, and I got my MBA in finance and investment management. So I think me being able to collaborate both skill sets brings tremendous value to the clients. And so I can do an analysis and see if reducing your pricing, if that will help grow the business. Because sometimes you might be discouraging customers because your pricing is too high. And I know on social media, they have all these little sayings, and it's like, you can't just go off of little quotes that people make up on social media, because these people may not even be business owners. They probably don't even have a business or know how to manage a business. And so they say, if people don't want to pay your price, then, or that they're not your right customer. I see that a lot. And sometimes that's right. Like maybe in a bookkeeping arena, that could be right. If you don't want to pay $180 a month and for a basic bookkeeping plan, then this is just not the avenue for you. You can find somebody that might be cheaper or might pay more and you're not getting the same value. That's fine. But in other industries, if your price is too high and people are not attracted to your service, then that means something, so that means something is either too high or maybe it's too low, and they feel like they're not going to get no benefit out of it because it's too low. So it's just all about analysis, doing a different analysis, different financial planning strategies.
I like it. Awesome. Oh my goodness, I like it. It is so much information. So do you work with just in the financial planning? I know you said the business owners. Do you just have individual clients as well that are not business owners?
Yes, that's primarily my clientele for financial planning.
Really?
Or individuals, or mostly families, people, married couples with kids. When you start having kids, especially I like to call them these new kids, they're spoiled. And it's not the kid's fault, it's really the parents' fault. We overcompensate. And so when you start having kids and you're making good money, you just feel like you can buy them whatever and you can do whatever their heart desires. And then maybe after a few years, you start to think like, man, you're just looking at your savings account, you're like, it's not going anywhere, or you feel like everything is so tight. And so they'll reach out for financial planning services, or they might reach out for a specific service like budgeting or debt management. Okay. I have a lot of people who reach out specifically like for debt management. And so we'll go through that session, and then I kind of just talk to them about financial planning. I talk to them about the other services. And then once they start to really get aware, they're like, man, I do need life insurance, and I educate them. I don't just try to sell people, because I feel like really what's going to be most important to you in the long run is being knowledgeable, and knowing the benefit of what you're getting, knowing what it all entails, comparing different services, knowing what all is out there and comparing it and knowing what's best for your family. So if what I provide is not going to be what's best for you, I have other connections that I can, get you in contact with, and they will provide you superior service and take care of you how you need to be taken care of. So yeah, it just starts with just being knowledgeable and being ready to being knowledgeable and being open and knowing that you need help and being ready to take advantage of that help when you get it.
Okay. So really quick, because we have to kind of wind down. I mean, I can talk numbers and finance and financial planning.
I know, right?
But too quick, because you said something about budgeting and debt management. Okay, so do you have a separate website for those services, or are they all on your same website?
So I actually don't have them on my website at this moment. I'm revamping my website, so they will be on there once I finalize my website. Okay. But if you go to my Instagram, I do have some of those services posted, and I do a lot of videos and post videos and different content for the viewers, so they can just kind of see what is all entailed in debt management and budgeting. But briefly, in budgeting, literally, we just walk through your numbers. How much money are you making? What are your household expenses? Like, we go through all of your expenses. And to be honest, I like doing the budgeting. I like doing it in their face, because once they start saying the numbers and they see you putting them into the program, their eyes start to like pop, because when you're just swiping that card, you're not really seeing the numbers. The numbers are not processing. But when they're like typed out in your face and you see, I spend this much on groceries, I spend this much on clothes for my kids or eating out, their eyes just start to pop. They're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I was spending that much money. And so they start to really create their own budget from there. Once they see how much money they are spending, they're like, okay, well, we're going to cut that down 50%. We can make that work. We can only eat out 4 times a month, and that'll be about X amount of dollars. So they start to create their own budget once they see those numbers, because they realize it's outrageous. But when you're just swiping that card, you don't realize it. And so I like the budgeting sessions because I really like the expressions on my clients' faces when they start to see those numbers. And then so what I do with all of my financial planning services, the budgeting and the debt management and financial planning, I meet with them again quarterly. Every quarter I meet with them. I see what has been your progress. Where are you at with, like, we made a plan, you committed to this plan. Where are you in accordance to the plan? Were you able to commit? And, you know, I do the quarterly sessions because I know life happens. Right. So you may end up committing to a specific budget, but then you might have had a health issue. You might have had a death in your family and that person didn't have life insurance. Now you guys have to come up with the funeral expenses, you know? So I understand life happens. And so we might have to readjust at times. And so that's really the main reason why I do the quarterly sessions, and also to hold my clients accountable. Because at the end of the day, we are all humans and we like to spoil ourselves. We like to live life. And I don't want people to feel like a budget is something that's going to weigh them down and prevent their lifestyle. I want you to live your life comfortably. But we also want to be able to meet your financial goals as well. So it's not, but I don't like to create budgets where it's so tight that you're not going to really be able to stay committed to it. We're creating a comfortable budget for you to live your lifestyle and meet your financial goals. So really it's just me holding them accountable, because sometimes that's just what people need. You know, you can commit to something and after a few months, you know, you start getting really comfortable, or you see things are going on sale and you kind of lose it a little bit. And so then I have to step in like, oh, so what happened here? You know, that's all. And in the finance or the debt management sessions, people really liked it because I think a lot of people are trying to manage debt on their own. And those were things that we were not taught. Like, you weren't taught that in school. And a lot of us were not taught that at home as well, because our parents didn't know. They might have been like, my parents were first generation where they graduated college and they really started making good money. So my mother was really good at managing money. My daddy, not so much. So, but I think a lot of people are really attracted to the debt management service because they're trying to manage it themselves, and they're realizing they're like digging themselves in a hole and they just can't get out of it on their own. And so they finally just reach out like, hey, I need help. And so what we do is just create a strategic plan to help you pay off your debt in a timely manner. And really, I actually have an article I wrote about that on my blog, on my website. And it's just about how to tackle your debt. You know, so you can pay off your debt. Really, it's just about paying attention to one debt at a time. That is the best advice I can give to kind of sum it up. Focus on one debt at a time. That's going to help you knock out that debt. And then you can move on to the next debt. And once you knock out that first debt, now you have more money to pour into the next one that you focus on. And then when you pay that one off, then you have more money to focus on the next one. And so you just continue to do it like that. I feel like a lot of people try to take care of everything at once, and you get nowhere that way because your money spreads so thin.
I think too, the accountability sessions make a difference because you know that someone is watching.
Yeah. No, I'm not gonna lie, that definitely made a difference. At first, I didn't have the accountability meetings tied to them, and so I might check on them once or twice a year. But I wouldn't really like be looking at the numbers. It would just be a phone call, just checking in. How are they doing? And then before you know it, they're like, okay, well, I need another budgeting session. You know, I wasn't able to stay committed to the other one, the previous one. And so I just started to realize again, like with the financial review meetings with my bookkeeping clients, they enjoy it so much because they have somebody, they feel like somebody has their back. They know that I'm there. And so I thought, oh, maybe let me try adding that to my financial sessions. And it makes a big difference. It's the same. They know that somebody's watching. They know that somebody is there and that I have their back and I'm going to be supporting them. And if life happens, if something happens, it's no sweat. We can readjust the plan. We can always readjust the plan. Nothing is set in stone. Nothing is permanent. We can readjust it to fit whatever is going on. And if something is just temporary, then we can revamp it again once whatever situation goes away. So they enjoy it. And I think it makes a big difference. It really does make a difference. Just knowing that I'm going to check on them, knowing that they can reach out to me at any time. And I think also just knowing that it's just somebody they can relate to. I am a financial professional. I am human as well, though. I am paying off my debt. You know, I am a single mother. So it's like, I have to budget as well. And when the pandemic hit, I had to revamp my budget. And so, you know, just knowing that they have somebody that they can relate to, it makes a difference as well.
And I think the sessions make a big difference, you know, just sitting down with someone and doing it, because it's easy to say, hey, I'm going to do it. But when you actually have to sit in someone's face, and like I said, the accountability, you know, that's huge. It's huge. We all need support. So,
and them seeing those numbers, when they see the numbers, it's like shocking. Like even with the debt, they know they have 10 debt things that's going on. They know it. But when you lay out those numbers and lay out how much that they owe, and you actually show them, this is how much money that you are throwing to just debt every month. Every month you're throwing $2,000 towards your debt. If you paid off all that debt, you would have $2,000 more to go towards your goals. How much faster would you be able to reach your goals if you was able to throw $2,000 every month to them? And then they realize, like, man, you know, you're right. But a lot of the reason why people have debt is because they're really just they're living outside of their means. They're making, once you start, I feel like a lot of people, once they start to make a certain amount of money, they just get really comfortable. Like, oh yeah, I can do that. I got the money. But you don't realize, like, you're not budgeting. You don't have money going into your savings account. You're not putting money into your retirement. You're just spending it. And then you start spending more. And then you have a credit card. So then you start spending that. And it just keeps piling up and piling up. And now, not only are you living outside of your means, now so much of your discretionary income is going to just maintaining your debt. And so you're just in a cycle. You're not going anywhere. And so once you kind of break that down to them, and once they see the numbers, it kind of just sinks into their head on your own. I don't have to explain too much more after that. I show them the numbers, and then I break down the plan for them, and they're more than willing to get on board, because they're like in shock of how much money they have just going to debt, and that's not giving them any type of benefit.
Right. Very cool. Love it. Awesome. Ahngelea, I have to let you go. It's been great talking to you, but before we go, just one thing that you would want to share with the listeners and viewers before we go. One tip, whether it's for a business owner or for an individual regarding financial planning.
I would say do your research into life insurance. Speak with somebody who is willing to break down what all is entailed in the life insurance, compare plans. I would love to schedule any life insurance appointments. If you have life insurance through your job, it's very important for you to have your own plan. If you are a business owner, it's very important for you to have life insurance. So please reach out if you need any life insurance. I love walking people through just the ins and outs of life insurance and letting them know what will be the best fit just for their lifestyle and their needs. But just educate yourself on life insurance. It's very important. It's really the first step into being financial or achieving financial freedom.
Love it. Awesome, awesome. Thank you again so much, Ahngelea Tax Keeping by AC. I will list her information, her Instagram and her website in the description below. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And if you are a podcast, subscribe, YouTube, like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.
Thank you.